Everybody welcome. Today is unusual for me because I'll begin at the beginning. First of all, Dory is here today. Dory is the genius who actually makes my program go on YouTube. And when things go wrong, I call her. And since Kenny and Greg and Joni couldn't do the program today, and Jessie is unavailable in general for the program, we asked Dory, and she's wonderful. Okay, shall I begin?
Please.
Okay. I am speaking largely to a generation which is younger than I am. I am 93, and when I was born, nobody knew what I looked like until I was given birth to. Nowadays, there's, what is it, a fluoroscope?
Sonogram.
A sonogram. What is a fluoroscope?
Something that it does something under light.
Oh, okay.
Sonogram works with sound waves on your belly.
Oh, okay. So now you can tell the infant before it comes out of the birth canal. And James Webb is floating around up there with a solar telescope. And things are happening which nobody ever could have surmised when I was born. So the story I'm going to tell you comes from the brain of a 93-year-old who sees it as pure magic. Okay? If you read what it says, Kent is coming from Sweden and he'll open the door, or rather I'll open the door to him in my home on the 8th of February of September. And I want this program to be about that. I want to tell it to you from the viewpoint of somebody who could never have believed what technology is doing now. I found out how all this came about.
Kent is here. He's watching.
Kent is watching. Oh, fantastic. Okay, Kent, I will see you in a few days. So listen to this. How did I get to meet him? On the board, am I saying it right?
On your page.
On my page, you will see the picture that he took of me when he first came to the United States about 40 years ago. I don't know the exact date, but the people who own the painting would know it. I was commissioned to do a painting of the Plaza Hotel. Ignore the noise, there's an airplane going by. And they wanted a painting of the Plaza Hotel because they spent their honeymoon there. And this young man named Kent came from Sweden with his then-to-be girlfriend, now to be his wife. And he took a photograph and he sent it to Facebook. And here is the rest of the story. Okay? First of all, it begins with my son wanting to go to New Paltz to college. And he made friends with Eileen. Wait a minute.
Got it.
Okay. Here is a story. I found it. Okay. So I called Eddie to get the whole idea. Eddie is the one who found out who Kent is. This is what he wrote. I first saw your picture painting on the street corner on a Facebook page. It may have been old images of New York. Here is the link. Just click it and you will see. And there he gave me the click. https://www.facebook.com Old New York Images. There are many Facebook pages you join depending on what your interests are. This page shows old pics of the city. When I saw your picture, I sent it to Eileen, to you, to Kenny, etc., to make sure it was you. And that is how the sweet Kent entered our lives. Eileen followed up after I found the picture and contacted Kent. She started all this and then fled to Turkey when Kent comes to New York. And that's pretty much the story. Hope you have a great visit with him. I will. On Thursday morning, on the 8th, he will knock at my door and I will welcome him. And if that isn't a fairy tale story, I don't know what is. And I don't know where to begin to explain the miracle. I'll begin by telling you why I began this. When I was 8 years old, and many of you have heard this before, and Hitler came to Vienna, and I was no longer allowed to go to school, and I was not able to go to the park or anywhere because people would kill me. I understood that if people would know us, at least my 8-year-old mind said, if people would know us, then they wouldn't hurt us. And I began to learn in preparation of drawing people how to make resemblances. And here I am because of that. I don't know if I changed the world, but my intent was. And now I look at the world through my eyes. As Julie knows, and all of you who've known me for a while, I am surrounded by friends. How did I make so many friends? Because I want to know about them. When I draw somebody, I figure out by drawing them who they are. And what I said to Kent was, Kent, when you first come, forgive me, but I'm going to be stingy. I won't let anybody else come. I want to sit down and draw you without anybody else around, except your friend Lars, and get to know you. We'll begin that way. And I need to tell you what I intend to do for the rest of my life. I am going to paint no resemblances anymore because my eyes are not doing that well. When my eyes stop working well enough to do Kent and other people, I'm going to find an old person and I'm going to learn from them what my friend Linda Swern and I figured out. If you in some way can find Linda Swern's picture, fine. If not, don't worry. I just want her to know. We tried to find out, she and I, how I could draw somebody as how I see them. And she and I both found out. And I said, no, I want to draw you as if I could see you the way you see yourself. And we both found out there is no such thing. If I look in the mirror to see myself, I look to see, is there a breadcrumb or a cake crumb anywhere in my face? Do I have a pimple? How do I look? Did I comb my hair well? And the reflection on your face is how I see myself. And Linda and I found out we do not see ourselves, ever. Kent is a wonderful photographer. He does buildings the way he sees them. I can't wait to see if in the way I draw him, he sees himself. By the way, he's incredibly good looking. I do have his picture. He sent it to me.
Yeah, I'll find it. Keep talking.
Okay. But what I will have to do with him, I'll have to not just do his face, I'll have to do him. Because his whole body speaks for him. He travels as a sports figure. He skis. His body tells it. You found him. Okay, can you show him?
This is Kent, but you'll all see him in the flesh, hopefully, in the next week or so.
Yes, and you will see the drawing the week after.
Okay.
If he comes back to Facebook on, I believe, the 12th, right?
8, 9, 10. What's today? 5 and 7, 12. Yep.
Yep. So that is that. Now let me go back into speaking of what I want to find out from him. I want to find out who he is because of the awesomeness of his photography. And someday, when I get to do somebody as old as I am, I want to do a full painting of the face. And I want to ask questions. Dory, when you get a chance, could you tell me if there are any questions, if anybody asks?
Are there any questions? There's no questions. I hear, let's see.
Any
There's some
any
people-
comments?
Tammy, Julie Williams is watching. She said, hi, Hetty dear. They said, hi, Dory, thank you for facilitating. Marcia Goldstein Graver's watching. Kenny's actually watching. Carol Hodkins watching. Kent is watching, as I told you. Janine is watching. They all said hello. Kent said that painting was 1980.
1980.
Yes. And Janine says, hello, Hetty. Hello, everybody. Yola's watching. Says, hello, my friend Hetty. And John says, hugs from California.
Okay, I have to tell you about John. John is making a film of me and making me discover things that I had forgotten. Let me tell a little bit about the people who've interviewed me. The first one who sent shockwaves through me is Dr. Could you give me that book light there?
The purple one?
Yes, the top one.
This one here?
No,
This blue
there, right.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Could you show me this? This man taught me to respect everything I hear. I even have to respect my iPad, which doesn't listen to me. If I would be Dory, I would understand it, but I don't. But this is so amazing. The first time when he interviewed me, he uncovered something that I had never known, and that was about cottage cheese. There was a woman in my life who was one of the best teachers. When I painted the Times Square area, she looked at it. I used to go there all the time for criticism. She looked at it and she says, you've got 3 prostitutes there, you've got to get rid of 2 of them. And I said, I can't, they asked to be put in. And she said, no, Hetty, you are not selling cottage cheese. You are creating art. And when Dr. Joe interviewed me, that sentence came to my mind. And now when I paint, it's right here. Hetty, you are not selling cottage cheese. Okay? And when I was first interviewed, it was by my friend, a young woman whom, well, Eric went with me to do Grand Street because we passed by Grand Street and Eric said to me, "You're dying to paint that, aren't you?" It was an old tenement that was going to be torn down. And I said, "Eric, I can't anymore. I don't have the strength to sit in a street corner after dragging all my equipment in the car. I can't." And he kept on driving, and then he said, "But if I do the driving and I carry the equipment, will you do it?" And I don't remember how old he was at that time, but it was definitely in his late 80s. And I said, "Eric, you can't either, you're too old." And he said, "Let's try." And we did. And the first pair of people who passed by, who knew me, who knew that I paint people, said, "Would you paint me in there?" And Eric said, "Only if she tells a story of what connects her to this place." Well, we did email to her because she emailed to us and she said, "Could I tell the story of when my grandfather smuggled himself because Chinese people were not allowed into the United States?" And Eric said, "Yes, yes." And that next Sunday when we came down to paint, she came with her mother, her father, her sister, her Scandinavian boyfriend, and Eric gave me a nudge and he said, "Put them all in." And I did. And she was just learning how to interview people. And she asked if she could interview me. And I said, "Sure." But all I did was talk about the people I met. And she said, "Hetty, I can't. You don't talk about yourself." And I said, "I don't know what to say." And when I said the same thing to Tammy, she said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a street painter." And she said, "That's not enough. What does it mean?" And that got me started. She said, "You've got to show pictures." And that's why I now have a website. So I really am who all of you created. And I thank you for it. I love who I am. I love that I'm allowed to paint. I love that through Facebook I'm allowed to speak. And I love that John Taracuso was able to find out who I am because of Facebook. He has hours and hours and hours of my Facebook stories. And if I want to call and find out what did I speak about when, I called California and I said, "John, did I speak about this last week or did I speak about that?" And I know, plus having my Dory, who does YouTube, I'm being made a film about by somebody who knows all about me because of, God bless, Facebook.
So you have a question and some hellos. Ken says, "What kind of things would you ask someone in their 90s if you sketched them?" We'll come back to that. Marcia says she loves your stories. Sandy Kelman Alzek says, "Good evening, Aunt Hetty," from Sandy and Ismail. Tammy says, "We love who you are." And John Taracuso says he has 71 pages of notes. And if you want to answer Ken's question, what kind of things would you ask someone in their 90s if you sketched them?
Okay, I would ask how they deal with the magic of not being able to understand the magic that exists. Because first I called Greg Then, now that I have Dory as a friend, I call Dory. In between, Kenny fills in. Joni doesn't understand Facebook, and Jesse's not here. I am lost in the world. The things I want to know exist somewhere, but people have to translate to me. And I would ask her, do you feel as lost in a world where everything is not in a book? I love reading. All my life I've been reading. I wake up in the morning and my wonderful neighbor has picked up the newspaper, which is thrown by Newsday in the street, and by the other people who send me the New York Times on weekends. And I can read, and then I can throw it away. But I don't watch the news on television because they're made like a machine. First they give me the scandals. I don't want to know the scandals. I don't care what somebody ate for breakfast. So I go back to reading, where if I am on page 56 and it says continued on page 57, I don't even have to know that. I know page 57 will be when I turn the page. On this stupid computer, there is no page to turn. Why? Because somebody connected Verizon in a pipe in back of my house. Suddenly everything is haywire. Nothing is working. I hate the new world.
You just hate technology.
I hate technology.
Yeah. The new world is pretty okay.
Yeah, but they don't tell me when they change everything. They don't give me a book which says, like my microwave says what to turn when.
There might be one. Just got to search for it. There might be one. Do you want to go back to the painting and show this picture that Kent took?
Yes, I would love it.
Okay, this is the picture. Oops. Kent took in 1980. She looks exactly the same and just as beautiful. And that's what she was painting, and they're both on her Facebook page.
And I don't look the way I did in those other years.
No, you're more beautiful now.
Because you love me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then let's talk about this.
Okay, you have 7 minutes. Lots
Okay.
of time.
I want to show you what happened here. I was very angry the other day because I did the cell phone. No, I did the iPad. And I looked for something and it didn't come. And then I looked for something else and it didn't come. I wanted, and Jose, you know about this, I wanted to send you things from my notes, my stories that I write, and I couldn't find them. And when I found them, they wouldn't be sent. And I was so angry that I went to paint, and I messed up the face. And I realized my anger colors life, my life, and that today when I felt wonderful, because Dory was with me today and she made everything work, when I went back to that face that I had messed up completely, I suddenly got it. How did I get the face? My brain worked differently. And I wanted to say, those of you who want to earn a living in art, don't tell your brain that you're doing it so that you become famous. It won't listen. You have to look at the face that you're doing and feel that person. Otherwise it does not come. You know how I found that out?
Why?
I always, whenever I was able, in the old days when I could drive, when I went to the Metropolitan Museum, I would always go to the Rembrandt room. And I would look for the Rembrandts. But I looked at how the brocades were made. I looked how the jewelry was made. I admired the craftsmanship. But one day I went there and I looked at a woman, the face of a woman, and that woman spoke to me. How do I explain that? I don't know how. But I saw her as a person. I didn't admire the skill that Rembrandt used. I looked and I said to him, how did you do it? How did you have me understand her? How did you let me know her? And I know the answer. I wanted to meet her. I didn't care about the skill he used. I wanted to know, how did he go into her? And I found out, and that's why I said to Kent, when you come, except for Lars, who is close to you, I don't want anybody to come. I want to draw you alone. I want to get to know you. And he understood. And so I now have a rule. When I'm painting faces, I don't want anybody there. I need to be alone with my thoughts, even when I'm working from photographs. I cannot speak to anybody. I need to go into that person and speak to them. And I think that is the secret of what art is supposed to be. And I want to find out from Kent how he was able to understand the awesome photographs he takes. What mood does he put himself into? And I think my time is up, am I right?
2 minutes, I'll do a quick catch up. Hernan Fran is watching. Marcia Goldstein Graver says, beautiful then, beautiful now. Julie Williams says, boy, do I love that photo, and Dory is right, you are still just as beautiful, Hetty. And Bobby Wiener is watching. And you do still have 2 minutes if you want to wrap it up.
Okay. I am going to have people meet Kent later on that day. But when I am alone with him, you are going to see the drawing eventually when I'm finished, because I'll get to know who he is. And those of you who don't understand why when I paint, I no longer want anybody to speak to me, why I don't answer the phone. I love this painting. It is going to be a painting of each of the people who are in there. And it's going to be the best painting I'll ever do. But I can't have anybody phoning me or being with me when I'm painting. Thank you. I love
just some
you.
last catch-ups. Barbara Feaster's watching. Ken says, I love the secret of what art is supposed to be. And Sandy Kelman says, love you, Aunt Hetty. And you've got 30 seconds left.
And in those 30 seconds, let me just say, all of you are mine. And
you're ours.
And I love you. Thank you.